Hi, this is Commissioner Raquel Regalado, and welcome to Influential People in District 7. And today we get to talk to one of my favorite influential people in District 7. This is Chelsea Wilkerson, CEO of the Girl Scouts of South Florida. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor to come and hang out with one of our most esteemed county commissioners.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, first and foremost, I have to admit that I always wanted to be a Girl Scout, and I've told you this story. I wanted to be a brownie specifically. I was obsessed. I went to St. Peter and Paul. For those of you who know St. Peter and Paul, it's a big thing, Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts at St. Peter and Paul, especially in like the 70s and 80s. And my mom did not let me be a Girl Scout. So I always tell you that, like, if we can do like grown-up Girl Scouts, I could do the whole thing. We can have like a little program. So
we actually have a troop for you. We have an adult troop, Troop 305.
Yes.
Your experience is actually fairly common in Miami. Lots of families, especially families who immigrant families weren't from here, didn't understand what it was all about. So we have a lot of women in the community who say, I wanted to be a Girl Scout. I wasn't able to. We have something for you. It's called Troop 305, and we can share more information. I'll put something in the comments later on how to join Troop 305.
So it's never too late to become a Girl Scout.
It is never too late to build girls and women of courage, confidence, and character. That is exactly right.
Wonderful. Well, we want to talk about a few things that are happening in District 7 specifically. But for folks who, the last time they heard about the Girl Scouts, was when they were kids or when their daughters were Girl Scouts, or they live under a rock and they haven't heard about the Girl Scouts. Just really quick, what's your elevator speech on the Girl Scouts?
I think that the thing that people most frequently associate with Girl Scouts is cookies and camping.
Yes, which are delicious.
And that's great. Cookies is a big part of what we do in Girl Scouts, of course. It is the largest entrepreneurship program for girls in the world. And camping is fantastic. That's how we get girls outdoors, connecting with their environment, learning about what's going on around them. And, research shows the more time girls spend outside, the more likely over the course of their lifehood they are to be challenge seekers. That's where they're building that independence and the confidence in being in the outdoors. So cookies and camping, yep, that's what people think of us, and that's certainly what we're here for. But really what I like to say is that we are a 21st century organization serving 21st century girls and ensuring that the girls today are learning the skills they need to put them on a path of a lifetime of success, of leadership, and giving them opportunities to try new things in that safe space. And so in addition to cookies and camping, we have incredible badges that girls can earn now, of course, in life skills, connecting with elected officials, learning about what their roles can be in their local communities, and STEM, which is one people don't always associate with us with. So girls from kindergarten through 12th grade are earning badges in cybersecurity, coding, how to be citizen scientists, and really having that chance to try new skills, and many times finding that their life paths are going in different directions than they maybe thought, and that's because they had an opportunity to sample something in Girl Scouts.
Right. One of the things we talk about as women is that, a lot of women don't have mentors.
Yep.
I went into a field where it was all men. And I had great mentors, but they were all men. It's very different when your mentor is a woman. And also women have a tendency to not mentor and to not network in the way that men network. And one of the things that I love about the Girl Scouts is that you're teaching girls like that skill set, because that skill set can really hurt you career-wise, right? If you're not good at networking, if you're not good at connecting, if you're not good at asking for a mentor or becoming a mentor, and even the limitations of perspective. People have a tendency to do what their parents did or what they were exposed to, and maybe they want to do something completely different, right? That's not necessarily within the sphere of their family, and you guys expose them to that. So when we talk about the badges, what should people know about the relationships that the girls have and how they establish goals and meet those goals?
Yeah, absolutely. So in terms of mentorship, 1,000%. In fact, back to the research shows the more time girls spend in those gender specific spaces, also that's where they're building the confidence, they're building that sense of belonging and identity. And when girls are surrounded by other girls who are accomplishing great things, they see themselves doing that. So the mentorship's coming from the troop leaders, who are typically volunteers who are troop leading. And that can be a mom and a caring neighbor or someone from their community who serves as a troop leader. So that's one mentor. But then there's also so much mentorship and networking that they start learning at 6, 7, 8 years old in their troop in, hey, I'm struggling with this thing in this badge. Can you help me? They're helping each other and they're setting each other up for success, which becomes so important. And that's really baked into the secret sauce of Girl Scouts, is learning to be a little bit vulnerable, to ask for help. And those are all important parts of networking and being that genuine, making those genuine connections with others. So it's definitely such an important part of what we do.
So how did you end up doing this work? What's your story?
Great question. So I was not a Girl Scout. I'm originally from Idaho.
Yes.
Well, no, truth be told, I was a Girl Scout for about 6 months, I think, maybe. I have some very faint memories. My sisters were, and I remember I really wanted the uniform, and I wanted to
The uniform is fabulous.
it was the brownie uniform that I wanted to.
Yeah,
so there you go. We have that in
Yes,
common.
yeah.
I wanted the uniform, and I wanted to go to the father-daughter dance that they did in my very rural agricultural community in Idaho, big potato community. But I did it for a couple of months. Something happened and I did not get to continue. So fast forward many years. I've been in Miami now almost 20 years, and I've spent about 12 years working in different capacities in the foster care system. And a couple of years ago, 6 years ago, in fact, there was an opening at Girl Scouts. I did what Girl Scouts do. I raised my hand, I threw my hat in the ring, and I said, my daughter was a Girl Scout at that point. I was somewhat familiar with what it was like, now, Girl Scouting today. And from my work, working with youth and youth development programs, I was just really interested in finding out more about the opportunity. I also had a lot of questions for the board about what's going on with the council and what are the plans and where are we going and what are we doing with this? And so in part, just to ask those questions, I applied for the job. I ended up getting it. And so here I am 6 years later, and I have found that our community has been so receptive to Girl Scouting. Now, please know, we're not new in Miami.
Right.
We're going to talk a little bit more at the end about a big milestone we have coming up, and that we are going to be 100 years old. So that's I think certainly something worth celebrating. Not many organizations in Miami have made it to 100 years. So we have big plans for painting Miami Girl Scout green.
Yes.
But my contribution has just been over the last 6 months, and it's been really rewarding to see how many people come out of the woodwork and of excitement. It feels like, people have a sense that girls need Girl Scouting now more than ever.
Yes.
Or as much as ever. And so it's
and the adult parties are lots of fun.
Yes.
I got to attend one of those. Those are spectacular. The adult Girl Scout parties are very cool.
Yes. We have a lot of fun in Girl Scouting. And, when there are no children around nor youth around, sometimes there are cocktails that are matched with, s'mores and cookies.
I was like, s'mores and cocktails. This is like the perfect party.
Yes. And again, no girls are present when that's happening. But we have a great time at Girl Scouts, and it's really an honor to be a part of such a phenomenal organization that has, a legacy of impact. Nationally, Girl Scouts turned 110 years old in 2022.
Yeah.
And like I said, we have our own council Centennial right around the corner. So I feel like it's a privilege to have my moment where I'm holding the baton on behalf of girls in our community for this time, this moment. And I look forward to see what will come in the future as well.
Well, when I talk to girls about leadership and getting things done, I give all these talks about advocacy. One of the things I always tell people is, you got to just ask. You got to ask. You got to tell people what you want. You got to really have a plan, right? Because most people meet elected officials and they don't understand that we have a limited bandwidth, right? So if you throw a bunch of stuff at me, I'll be like, oh, wait a second.
Right.
The minute I met you, you were like about Camp Mahachi.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I was on message. On message.
I have this camp. I have these issues. So let's talk about that, because you've gotten so much done. Recently, the city of Coral Gables, we've been working with their gardening group, and the commissioner, obviously Anderson, who's there. And she's been amazing. And we're actually going to have her on to talk about this also. But I love the EO program. You guys are next to West Matheson, which has been somewhat, controversial.
Yep.
But it has EO properties. Can you tell us a little bit about the camp? It's spectacular, but it needed some work.
Yes, absolutely. So Camp Mahachi is one of the most incredible properties I think that exist in South Florida. It is an 11-acre camp that was purchased by Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida in 1945 for the grand total of $3,337. If you can imagine, Girl Scouts were out selling cookies during World War II and earning money and really paying forward and leaving an incredible legacy for our entire community. They dedicated the camp in 1948. So in 2023, in addition to our council turning 100 years old, Camp Mahachi will officially be 75 years old, which is, I think, really amazing. Spectacular. Yeah. And when you visit Camp Mahachi, which is right off Old Cutler Road, near Fairchild Tropical Gardens, as you said, by West Matheson. it is like you were time traveling. You turn off the road and you go down this windy path, and it's surrounded by hardwood hammock, and it's like you step back in time. And so I think that it's really incumbent on us as the stewards and those who are currently responsible for Camp Mahachi to do our best to maintain and restore parts of the camp that have kind of suffered over the past decades. We've had a real issue, as most people in Miami can relate to, with invasive species who have had their way with much of the hardwood hammock. And so, as you were mentioning, the city of Coral Gables and the community has really come together to help us with the restoration program, where we are, the initial phase 1 is restoring the first acre and a half when you first pull into the camp. We've pulled out,
which is like a jungle.
It was.
Like
now
it looks, yeah, I know.
Now it looks like a moonscape. I mean, it's like it went from like overgrown jungle to like this weird moonscape, because we did the full cleanup, removed all of the invasive species. We're in the process of doing some follow-up herbicide treatment, everything approved by the county.
Right.
Everything
Durham has been participating.
Correct.
Durham has been great. They gave us great advice as to, it's been like a science experiment for us to learn about like how difficult it is to get rid of some of these invasives, right? I mean, because you think, oh, Durham's going to come in and be like, that one's not native, that one's not native. Who knew, right, that it was so complicated? It
is very extensive. And I feel like, I believe that Girl Scouting in part sets girls off for a path to being lifelong learners. And I know that I certainly am benefiting from that culture of being a lifelong learner. I feel like I could maybe get some honorary arborist badge, at least at this point, if not like an honorary degree in arbor, in trees and invasives. But it's just been really phenomenal seeing this process take place. So we're going through the phase 1 cleanup. And actually, we've got a group of volunteers coming out this weekend where we're going to do more, because we took off all of the layer, the deep layer of invasives, and found a lot of trees that had fallen. And so we had trunks that were down. Right. So there's another round of cleanup that we're doing now to get rid of all of that fallen hardwood. And then we're planning over the course of the next 3 months, beginning in the fall, to plant and do a full restoration of that hardwood hammock. So over that acre and a half, we anticipate we'll be planting about 2,000 trees.
Which is amazing. And by the way, we've looked at the plan. When I first saw the plan and they said you were going to plant 2,000 trees, I was like, you're kidding me. How do you plant like 2,000 trees? But it really is beautiful. I mean, the restoration plan is amazing. And one of the things that we talk about when we talk about these EO properties, and I say it over and over again, I mean, I grew up here, born and raised, our kids do not have access to the plants that I saw growing up, right? So I, rode my bike, and there's certain trees that you grew up seeing that don't exist anymore. And these restoration projects really are exposing them to that like native trees and plants and bushes that are beautiful. And this is an opportunity for them to see that, as opposed to a bunch of like horrible invasives that are strangling everything.
Yeah. I mean, I think this project is really bringing out the best of all of our community, between the support from the city of Coral Gables. The mayor, Commissioner Anderson, has been out to support Coral Gables. Community Foundation is supporting Coral Gables. Garden Club is supporting.
The Garden Club has been amazing.
They've been fantastic. The county has just poured a wealth of expertise and time into supporting and making sure that we do it right. That it is informed, and that, to your point, we are bringing in the appropriate trees, the appropriate plants, the things that will survive. And like I said, we're learning so much along the way about, wow, I was like 2,000 for an acre. How's that possible? It's survival of the fittest.
Any of the acre left?
Yes. It's survival of the fittest. And we know we're going to lose some, because the strongest, most resilient trees are those that will thrive and that will grow going forward. And so it's such a great opportunity. During the replanting phase is when we really want to get our girls and troops and more community members involved, because that phase is really about planting for the future. And, I talk about, this is our time. We're holding the baton now. That's the time, I think, for the girls to really see, like, they are putting seeds in the ground. Just like 75 years ago, people had the foresight to purchase the property, and we've been stewards of it. This is now the girls who are Girl Scouts now and community now to say, hey, we're going to put literally stakes in the ground, trees in the ground, and ensure that those trees are here, and we're restoring that property for the future.
Right. And speaking of the Durham plan, one of the things when we talk about this many plants is they created like a canopy, but it has like layers, right? Of all these different plants that coexist, and really building an ecosystem like it would have been in the 1940s, right? Before all these invasives, got here. So it's amazing to see like how all these plants work together and how they can create something beautiful and really like take the time machine like to another level.
It totally is. And in fact, we've discovered, and I can't say I can't take credit. And there's been a gentleman who works for Miami-Dade County. I got to give a shout out to James Duncan.
Our amazing tree guy. Yes, brilliant. We love him. Yes.
And he has discovered a number of ferns that are endangered or on the watch list.
Yes.
That he's super excited about, because he was like, we didn't know these were still around, and we found them, and he points them out to us. So that property, like I said, because it was purchased when it was completely undeveloped, and there are parts of it where, other than the invasives coming in, we have not done any development in terms of building. I mean, there's a road, but we've left a lot of those acres completely untouched. So there are all kinds of, treasures, natural treasures that are just hidden under all of those layers, and to give those opportunities now to thrive, done appropriately with the proper expertise, is really just such a phenomenal opportunity. So
we're so super excited. We're super excited. And it's really an opportunity also to highlight the EO program,
yes,
and bring another generation, to really understand what, the environmentally endangered, lands are about, and why these areas are so important to us. So that gets us to your big anniversary.
Yeah.
So what's the plan? 100 years. How do you celebrate 100 years?
Well, we're going to paint Miami and the Keys. Where's the camera? Where's the camera am I pointing at? We are going to paint Miami and the Keys.
Girl Scout green.
Girl Scout green. That's exactly right.
Love it.
We have a number of events and activities that we have planned for the coming year. The first Girl Scout troop in South Florida met in Coconut Grove at the Coconut Grove Housekeepers Club, which is now the Women's Club, in 1923. And so in June of 1923, but we are launching our Centennial celebration in September. So next month at Girl Fest, which is our largest gathering of girls, we hosted at Pinecrest Gardens. You attended last year. It was fantastic having you with us. So next month we will be launching the Centennial celebration. There will be a badge that girls can earn, and community members can come along and earn a Girl Scout badge for our Council Centennial. We have we'll be doing a sweet shop activation where a number of different ice cream stores and candy stores are going to be doing Girl Scout cookie inspired flavors.
I love it.
So there's a sweet shop treat opportunity, because we like to keep it fun and, playful with Girl Scouts. In the month of March of 2023, we are going to do Girl Scout Takeover for Women's History Month. We're looking actually to paint some buildings green, just turn the lights green, not actually paint them green, but have some light buildings lit up with Girl Scout green. And we have an exhibit going into History Miami in late March through March 2023 to June of 2023. We will have an exhibit profiling and telling the story of the impact of Girl Scouts over the last 100 years in Miami and the Keys.
I love it.
Along with profiling so many of our incredible distinguished alum, women who were Girl Scouts here in South Florida, in tropical Florida, or women who were Girl Scouts in other parts of the country, or even Girl Guides, so outside of the country, and now call Miami home. So we're working on profiling. We hope to get to 100 of those women, and then we will have a big culminating celebration in June of 2023, where we recognize our girls who earn their Gold Award, which is the highest award Girl Scouts can earn, and that will be right almost at this smack dab 100th birthday. So I'm envisioning a table with 100 cupcakes and a big birthday party and a big reception and our Gold Award Girl Scouts, and just another really great opportunity to convene the community, bring people around, and bring awareness to the incredible impact this organization has had over the last century.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I love it. I love it. Okay. And most important question before we end, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? Can you have a favorite if you're in charge of the Girl Scouts?
It's a bit of a trick question. Yes,
I know. That's a tough one. I'm putting you on the spot.
It's a bit of a trick question. So my favorite has changed over the years.
Okay.
But I'm going to stick to my tried and true from the time I was not a Girl Scout, but wanted to be as a child. I always liked the Samoa.
Samoas, that's my favorite. My favorite is Samoas. My daughter's a Thin Mint person.
Okay.
She's a Thin Mint person.
Yeah.
And we have those. We have a lot of those in my house.
Yeah.
But I'm a Samoa too.
Yeah, it's kind of like a candy bar. A Samoa is like a candy bar. It's got the caramel and the coconut.
When you said that they're going to infuse it, I'm like, oh my God, I want to try everything
some
Samoa
ice cream flavors, imagine things like that. Yes, absolutely. So I am, Thin Mint is the #1 top seller. So you have to give the Thin Mint its space.
I'm not a Thin Mint person, but that's my daughter's favorite.
Yes.
She likes them frozen.
Yes.
Like people have this whole thing.
Oh yeah.
Like whether they're like regular room temperature or frozen, frozen. You could always open my freezer and there will be frozen Thin Mints there, or Isabella gets very upset.
Well, when girls are out selling, in fact, many of them know that as part of their sales pitch is buy a case, They freeze wonderfully. Hold on to them year round. Don't buy one box. That's only going to last so long. You need to buy 12 boxes, 1 box per month to get you through until next year's cookie sale.
Yes.
Correct.
And then we got to mention too, this year you had new cookies.
We did have a new cookie this year. Yes.
Which I found fascinating.
Yes.
It was delicious.
Yes. The Adventureful.
Yes.
The Adventureful. And it's a brownie, like a salted caramel brownie inspired cookie. It was delicious. Like all things 2022, we had supply chain challenges. So the supply chain even hit Girl Scouts, but we did very well in our council because we order our cookies early. And so we did okay. Other councils were very, very limited on their supplies. And we actually did run out at one point in the sale.
Wow.
So we're working very hard with our baker partners to make sure that those supply chain issues are resolved, just like so many 2022 things. 2020 to 2022, we just want to get all of that resolved and move on.
That's awesome. Well, Chelsea, thank you so much for being with us. I'm such a fan. We're so looking forward to the celebration. And then if you need volunteers, where can people go and volunteer
Always.
to help with the camp? If you have not been to Camp Mahachi, like you're missing out. It's so wonderful. It really is like stepping into like another time. It is so, so fabulous. So please volunteer and then also learn more about the Girl Scouts.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So anyone who's interested in getting involved, you can go to our website, girlscoutsfl.org is one great way to do it. Also follow us on social media. People don't go to websites anymore. So please follow us on social media, Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida. We're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. We're all of the things. We have all of the things. We're on all of the things. We do all of that. So, and again, Girl Scouting exists because the community supports girls and believes in girls, and we just welcome all the support we can get, and we welcome you with open arms.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for everything
Thank
that
you
do.
so much. We
so
appreciate
exciting.
you,
Love to
everything
have
that
you
you're
here.
doing for us as
All
well.
right. Wonderful.
Great.
Well, thank you for joining us and support our local Girl Scouts. They're amazing.
Thanks.
Bye.